My name is Solberg-Wolfe, and I am recording this video for my first aid class. In this video, I will demonstrate how to bandage an open wound that is bleeding and also how to safely remove a pair of gloves afterwards. So, in a situation like this, you would first need to introduce yourself to the person and explain that you are in fact certified in first aid. Hi, my name is Wolfe, and I'm certified in first aid. What is the situation?
I have a cut on my arm.
At this point, I can see that there's a cut on her arm, and I can see that that is the only wound on her. Is there anything else that is wrong?
Just the arm.
So, I know that I do not need to contact emergency medical services because the cut is not deep. It is a superficial wound. But if there was a larger problem, I could either dial 911 and leave my phone on speaker while I address the situation, or if there was someone else around me, I could ask them to call emergency medical services while I took care of the arm. So, before I bandage the arm, I need to make sure that my hands are sterilized. So I am going to use some Germ-X and sterilize my hands. I need to make sure that the Germ-X is completely rubbed in, because the second step is to put on a pair of gloves. As I'm putting on the gloves, I will survey the situation and make sure that the wound is exposed and that there are no pieces of clothing, articles of clothing on the wound. And I see that there is not. Also, these gloves are really hard to put on once you put Germ-X on your hands. Just be forewarned. Okay, so the gloves are on. I will need to see, can you raise up your arm please? Thank you. I'm looking at the cut, and it is along her arm this way. And we need to make sure that there's pressure applied directly onto the cut. I will do this using a sterile gauze pad. So we'll open it. But if you did not have a gauze pad, you could also use a towel or something that is clean that you place directly over the wound. Then you would need to apply direct pressure for at least 5 minutes onto the wound to try to stem the bleeding. If the blood soaks through the first gauze pad, you would not remove it. Instead, you would place the second gauze pad over the first one and continue to apply pressure for 5 more minutes. If the bleeding continues, then you would need to remove both and make sure that the gauze pad is directly on top of the open wound so that you are applying pressure to make sure that it starts to scab over. Again, you would not remove the gauze pad if it continued bleeding through the first time, because then you might actually pull off the scab that is starting to form. So you would instead just place the second one on top and apply more pressure. After you've applied pressure for at least 5 minutes, you would need to bandage it. I have a roller bandage, and for this demonstration, I will be using the spiral method. To do the spiral method, you would place it directly above the wound, but still overlapping the bandage so that it's holding it in place. And you would need to do 2 full rotations around the wound at the top to hold it in place. Once the bandage is secure, then I will start to move down the arm in a spiral pattern, like this. It's almost like a crisscross. You angle down, and then you angle back up. And then you angle down, but you've slightly shifted, and then you angle back up. And you continue to do this until you get all the way underneath the wound, at which point you will then need to secure the bandage. So, you will wrap it securely, and this roller bandage has Velcro, so that will help secure it. If yours does not come with Velcro, then you could always tuck it into the bottom to make sure that it stays in place. The bandage is secure. We want to make sure that it's not too tight, so we're going to check for circulation. To check for circulation, you would apply pressure to one of the fingers for 5 seconds and then release. If the color does not return after 2 seconds, you know that the bandage is too tight and you need to remove it and do it just slightly looser. But the color has returned, circulation is good, and the bandage has been applied. Now I will demonstrate how to safely remove the gloves. This is to protect myself from contamination and also diseases because I don't want to catch anything having come in contact with blood. To remove the gloves, I will pinch the very edge right next to my wrist and partially remove the first glove. I will not take it all the way off because then I'm going to use my fingers that are still in the gloves to pinch the edge of my second glove, and I'm going to pull this one all the way off. It's completely off, so I'm going to ball it up in this glove. Once it's balled up, I'm going to use my hands to grab the inside edge that has only touched my skin, the inside edge of the glove, and pull it up and over so that only the outside, or technically the inside of the glove that touched my hands, is on the outside that I'm touching because this did not touch the exposed wound. And at this point, I would dispose of the gloves, and that is how you use a spiral bandage or spiral method to bandage an open wound on the forearm and safely remove the gloves. You would do this only if there was an open cut that had no objects embedded in the wound, and also there cannot be an open bone fracture that was sticking out because that would require a different method. Thank you for watching.